What is Phat Ninja Food Forest? I quite often give a semi-generic answer to that. It's a permaculture designed food forest. There's a woodpecker there, I hope you can see him. What do I mean by a permaculture designed food forest? Well, break it down. Permaculture. There's lots of definitions for permaculture. The one I use is mimicking the edge of the forest is the overall, or the simple explanation. The edge of the forest. There's 7 layers all the way to the top of plants, animals, and fungi working together. There's 7 layers of plants, up to a canopy species like that large oak in the back, fruit trees down below that, bush layer of berries, herbaceous layer, ground covers, rooting crops, climbing layer like our grapes and our other vines. We see that all over the world, so that's permaculture is mimicking that because that creates no waste and sustains itself. So even if we designed our societies mimicking that, how we raise our children, how we educate one another, how we grow our food, how we build things, creating no waste, mimicking the forest. In permaculture, there's also what they call guilds. So up here we'll look. I use this one in particular. It's got an apple tree. Would be the key species in it. There's not the 7th layer. There's not a real canopy layer. But below that, there's a series of nitrogen-fixing bushes. There's some amber autumn olive. I know autumn olive is a bad word, but this one here is not invasive. There's a gummy berry over there next to it. There's a silverberry on the other side of that. There's a couple of those woodpeckers flying around. A little red-headed one, sorry. So those gummy berries, autumn olives, silverberries, all have the silver backside of their leaf in the Elaeagnus family, but they're fixing nitrogen. So they're fixing nitrogen into this guild. They also have wonderful berries we love. I shared a sandwich with a friend yesterday, and he's like, what is that jam? It was gummy berry. But in that bush layer, we also have things like chokeberry, saskatoons. Lower down, we have blueberries. We also have June berries. I can go on and on. There's lots of things around the property like that. Down to the flowering layer, which is designed. Let me clear my throat. Excuse me. Well, hello there. Which is designed to flower from the inside out. So as these trees flower out through the year, leaf out through the year, it flowers out here, making things accessible. Starting with the irises and lilies on the inside, working our way up. I got some horseradish in there, and the foxgloves. I'm forgetting the names of some of these. Down to the succulents down front, and the black-eyed Susans. So it works its way out, flowering. Gooseberries, jostaberries, bush cherries, stuff like that are all mixed in here. So this is all working together. Some to feed, some to call in the pollinators, some to pull like comfrey and the horseradish, pulling nutrients up from down deep. All having that place in nature. So Phat Ninja is a permaculture designed food forest. I said permaculture is mimicking forest, using guilds, finding that symbiosis in life, how things work together. Design, that's pretty easy. We've designed our property to do that. It wasn't just haphazardly thrown together. 10 years ago, this was a lawn we were mowing. Since then, we've designed. So here we're inside the annual garden. This is the bottom of the annual garden. So there's lots of perennials, like the raspberries mixed in. Hazelnuts, more autumn olives, even the giant pear tree here. With some pawpaws hanging over here. Right next to it, there's a squash climbing it. So thinking in levels and layers, letting that squash use the fence, trellising up through into this pawpaw. Down below we have some of those nitrogen fixers again, like this gummy berry. Perennials like asparagus, but also planted in the fall cabbage. There's some apples and jostaberries on the side. More bush cherries mixed in. and currants. With lots of little niches for these annual crops. Up top is the short-term annuals, or we call it a kitchen garden in permaculture. This kitchen garden is where we grow the everyday things. Lots of tomatoes and cucumbers and beans and beets and squash. So as we're walking through every day, we see what's ready to be harvested and collected. What needs attention, what has disease, what has bug problems. We have a propagation pond here, propagating plants for the other ponds. That feeds our chickens and ducks. At the same time covers that water surface. So this is just our backyard on a half-acre property. It's the majority of it. Well, I guess if you watch this long, I'll pause here and go on out front as well.